Hi everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I just wanted to share with you a portrait that I just finished up in my sketchbook. So you'll see me change. You'll have my hand in front of the notebook, but then you'll see me put on my artist's glove. And this is sort of a theme for this voiceover, where I'm going to be talking about the lessons that I learned while doing this piece of Robin Williams. So I was smudging with the oils on my hand. So if you're working with graphite or charcoal, put on a drawing glove. You'll see me, yes, there's the drawing glove. So so I wanted to do some work on beards because I typically don't draw men and I typically don't draw beards, and I love Robin Williams, so I wanted to challenge myself in my sketchbook. And you know, I think too many people are precious about their sketchbooks. They don't want to draw in their sketchbook because they're afraid that they'll mess up, and then, you know, it's in the sketchbook forever, right? Like, if you tear out a page, like, they'll know. And you're not a real artist unless you have a perfect sketchbook, which is a lie. So I was getting frustrated because I would look at artists on YouTube and I'd see their perfect sketchbooks and I'm like, man, I can't even finish a sketchbook. And these people are coming out with these like, oh, I got accepted into Cal Arts, here's my perfect sketchbook. And even people that are like, oh, this is just my like regular sketchbook tour, I just create perfect sketchbooks and I never make a mistake ever. Well, I make mistakes all the time, so I wanted to give you guys some advice on doing portraits, but also I wanted to share some lessons I learned. So as I was working on this, I started by carving out the major shapes, but if you're like me at all, you get distracted by parts of the piece that you want to work on. And for me, that's eyes and like getting the facial features down perfect. And so you see me getting distracted with the eyes here, where it's like I haven't even finished getting all the values in the face yet, and I haven't even finished like making sure that all of my angles are correct or that my proportions are correct, and that's what you really need to focus on early on in a portrait. So yeah, I struggled with that a lot when I was in undergrad doing my art minor. You see me here trying to figure out whether I have the angles correct or if I've balanced out the face. Getting the eye distance right is also tough. I'm smoothing out the edges here because I'm about to take a regular old Papermate ink pen to this and taking an eraser. I do like taking an eraser to put in those whites after you have grayed out the face so that you can get those lights and those darks later. So yeah, those lovely eyebrows Robin Williams has. He has great scraggly eyebrows, and so that was fun to work on. But so you see me going in quite a bit with this pen, and I'm kind of unafraid to put down darks because I know that I can go in with a white paint pen later and fix anything that doesn't look perfect. But let's talk about Robin Williams for a second and why I picked this portrait. I said that I wanted to work on beards, but I also love Robin Williams, and the other day I was thinking about Bicentennial Man. My dad and I were sitting outside talking when I was visiting for Mother's Day, and we were talking about all the movies that we loved and that we used to watch together, and my dad was like, oh, I loved The Fox and the Hound, but like my favorite of all time has to be that Bicentennial Man. And that's my favorite movie. If you ever hear me talking about my favorite movies, I'm gonna say, you know, Bicentennial Man's not the best movie I've ever seen, but it's my favorite movie. So that was probably one of the first Robin Williams movies I saw, maybe besides Aladdin. But I love the movie. It has so much heart. The soundtrack is beautiful with Celine Dion and James Horner doing the musical score. It's wonderful. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend. But it's a slow burn of a movie. I remember when my dad took me to see it in theaters as a kid, I fell asleep during the movie. Just because, you know, it's a relaxing movie to watch as well. I mean, say what you will, it's a relaxing movie. But Robin Williams kills, like, he's so good in Bicentennial Man and puts so much, like, authentic emotion behind it. And so Robin Williams has always been a favorite of mine and my dad's. I remember watching Bicentennial Man and realizing that that I'd one day have to face my dad dying, because Bicentennial Man is, oh, I'm getting a Discord call from Polly. But I'd one day have to realize, like, the death of anybody I cared about, because the movie focuses around those themes. So it's a movie that made me learn a lot about myself. It really strengthened the relationship between me and my dad early on, throughout my life, up until I think I was a teenager. My dad and I would do these, like, camp out things where we'd essentially get, like, bed sheets and quilts, and I'd take them downstairs, and my dad would also set up one for himself. We had 2 couches in our living room, and I never did anything like this with my mom. But, like, so he would set up his couch, I would set up my couch, and we'd put the bed sheets on and everything, put on the quilt, and then just chill and watch movies till, like, late at night. It was the best. So he'd be like, you want to camp out? And I'm like, yes. So we did watch Bicentennial Man many a time. So I remember when I found out that Robin Williams had passed, that was particularly heartbreaking for me, because I felt like my childhood had passed. And I remember it was right before I was about to take the GRE for grad school admissions, and I was like, well, I guess I'm just gonna do poorly on the GRE. You see me revising the head proportions, because I realized that the perspective didn't really make sense, and I was really upset at this point, because I'm like, I can't even post this video because this is just not a good portrait. And I want to remind anyone, when you hear someone on YouTube talking about their art and disparaging themselves, remember that that's their own issue as well, because I know that some people who aren't as experienced in art, you can feel discouraged by seeing good artists talking shit about their own art. Don't be discouraged. Really, it's so hard to like anything that you make. I've always said that I couldn't get a tattoo of my own artwork, because even if my artwork was better than the tattoo artists, I would be so much more critical of my own art than anyone else's. So just remember that, like, the artist is their own worst critic in life in many ways. So if I sit here and I'm like, oh my god, I was so anxious about how terrible this looks, remember, that's my own issue. Also, I'm sorry about the sides of the video here where I have, like, those marks on my table. I've also learned that it makes your life easier as an artist to have one really banged up table that you work on, or at least, like, a surface that you're not super devoted to, because you spill paint on everything. You can't be too precious about anything as an artist, to be fair. This is me revising the forehead size. I think I made his forehead too small in the beginning. But yeah, I was also really frustrated with the eyes at this point, but I'm just going in with my white Posca pen. I love it. It's one of my favorite tools that I use. And then I'm going in again with a Faber-Castell gray brush pen that I really love. Get those brush pens, y'all. You gotta vary up your line width. But yes, this portrait was so much fun to do. I don't know if I ended up capturing the expression that was in the photograph, but I'm kind of happy with how it turned out in the end, with him looking both sad and happy, which I felt was characteristic of him as a person. But yeah, I love Robin Williams in Patch Adams, in Good Will Hunting, Aladdin, and The King of Thieves, as well as the first Aladdin movie, Bicentennial Man. Jumanji. I mean, he was just formative in my youth and in my teenage years. And it really is a shame, everything that he went through as an actor, as an entertainer, as a person. And he's someone I think of often. And so when you're doing your artwork, think about why you've chosen your subject. Sometimes it's I just want to do beard practice, and then sometimes you have to think a little bit more about it. And I've been thinking a lot about the purpose that art has in my life, especially if I'm not going to sell it. Like, what am I going to do with the stuff that I do in my sketchbook? Yes, I'm like learning as an artist, and I'm sharing my art thoughts and artistic processes and the skills that I've learned. But I also get some time to reflect on how certain things affect my own life and what I value. And I learned a lot about myself as I make stuff. So, you see me just revising all of this stuff using the Posca pen to fix my proportional errors, anything that I was frustrated with. Don't be afraid to make a mess as an artist, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. I learn more from my mistakes than anything else. And frankly, mistakes just happen, and it doesn't really say anything about your skill level, really. Some days I have really good drawing days where I just hit all the proportions the first time, and I get everything down the first time. But those days are rare, and it feels like luck at times. And other days are more of a challenge, and some days you just have to learn how to fix errors, or you learn how to fix the mistakes, or even embrace the mistakes. How can I make this mistake part of my composition? But yeah, so I think I'm going to end my voiceover here, but if you like this type of video, let me know if you like the voiceover, and if you like the style. And if you like the video, press the like button, comment below what you think. If you aren't subscribed and you want to keep up with my work, I would appreciate you subscribing and turning on notifications so you know when I upload. I am slated to upload every Friday, but I also usually add in shorter videos and hashtag shorts when those needs arise. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day. Do something nice for yourself, take care of yourself, take care of others. Bye!